I was 14 when I first watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, the same age as Shinji Ikari. For years, I told myself I hated him, his weakness, his fear, his endless running away. But one night, in the quiet dark, I realized something terrifying. I didn't hate Shinji. I hated seeing myself in him. When did you first feel it? That unbearable ache of being utterly, painfully alone? That piercing moment when you understood that no one could ever truly know what it's like to be you? Shinji's anguished scream as he begs for connection. Asuka's raw breakdown behind a veil of arrogance. Rei staring at her palm, questioning her very existence. Hideaki Anno didn't just create Evangelion. He exorcised his own demons through it. He carved a universe from his despair, a place where loneliness isn't just a feeling but a burning inferno that consumes every soul it touches. What if I told you this isn't a story about giant robots or angels falling from the sky? What if Evangelion is a mirror, reflecting the parts of you that flinch, that hide, that scream in the dark? When Anno wrote Evangelion during his depression, he wasn't just telling a story. He was constructing a labyrinth where every turn forces us to confront another aspect of our humanity, our desperate need for connection, and our paralyzing fear of being hurt by it. Tonight, we're going to walk through that labyrinth together. No maps, no guides, just the truth that lies at its center. Let's be honest, we've all called Shinji a coward at some point. Just get in the damn robot. We yell at our screens as if we'd do any better. But here's the truth. Shinji isn't weak. He's us. He's every moment we've chosen comfort over confrontation. Every time we've begged the world to let us disappear. And Anno knew exactly what he was doing from the very first episode. Remember when Shinji and Misato first arrive at Nervi headquarters? That seemingly endless descent, escalator after escalator, elevator after elevator, spiraling deeper and deeper underground? It's not just cool sci-fi aesthetics. It's a deliberate metaphor for descent into the unconscious mind. Notice how they immediately get lost in that labyrinth of sterile corridors and bizarre machinery? That's not poor writing, it's brilliant visual storytelling. We're watching Shinji literally get lost in the depths of his own psyche, a journey that will continue throughout the entire series until he finally confronts what lies at the very bottom of his soul. Even the physical spaces in Evangelion are reflections of our inner landscapes. The deeper you go, the closer you get to the core truths you'd rather keep buried. And once Shinji does reach those depths, what's his first instinct? To retreat. To shut out the world completely. His headphones, our distractions, his hesitations, our self-doubt. You know that feeling when you're staring at your phone, trying to work up the courage to make that call that could change everything? That's pure Shinji energy right there. We mock him for running away. But how many dreams have you abandoned because you were scared? How many times have you thought, I'll do it tomorrow, knowing damn well tomorrow never comes? When Shinji screams, tell me what you want from me. Come on, tell me you haven't felt that. That moment when everyone wants a piece of you and you're just empty, nothing left to give, no idea who you even are anymore. That's the nasty genius of what Anno did. He didn't create a hero, he created a mirror. He forces us to look at the parts of ourselves we spend our whole lives pretending don't exist. So ask yourself, when was the last time you ran? Not with your legs, with your soul. When did you last ghost someone? Zone out? Put on your own headphones and pretend the world doesn't exist. Shinji's not just a character in some anime. He's that voice in your head that whispers, I can't, when things get too real. But Shinji's just the first reflection in Anno's twisted house of mirrors. Take Asuka's rage. We've all worn that mask. The one that screams, I'm the best, when we feel like we're the worst. Every time she shouts, look at me, she's really begging, please, someone, anyone, see my worth. Sounds familiar? It should. That voice that demands perfection, that pushes us to achieve just to feel worthy of existing. We all know it. Think about it. How many of your Instagram posts are really just you screaming, "Validate me"? How many achievements on your resume are really just you trying to prove that you deserve to exist? Then there's Rei, the mask of emotional detachment. If I feel nothing, nothing can hurt me. How many times have we tried that one? Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. Just ask anyone who's ever said, "I'm fine," while drowning inside. Even the adults aren't immune. Misato drowns her pain in beer and false cheer. She's the life of the party on the outside, but behind closed doors, she clutches at chaos, hoping if she can control something, maybe her broken past won't catch up. She plays hero to others because she can't save herself. Each of these masks, Asuka's rage, Rei's emptiness, Misato's fake smiles, they're all just different ways we survive our pain, different ways we pretend we're not broken. But here's the thing about Evangelion. It doesn't let us keep pretending. It asks the question we're all terrified to answer. What happens when those masks finally crack? When we talk about Evangelion's psychology, everyone focuses on the depression, the trauma, and the daddy issues. But Anno wasn't just writing about mental illness. He was creating an architecture of pain, a blueprint showing exactly how we build the walls that trap us. You know those AT fields the angels use? They're not just sci-fi force fields. They're the walls we build around our hearts. Every time Shinji deploys his EVA's AT field, he's doing exactly what we do every day, creating a barrier between his true self and the world. But here's where Evangelion gets truly radical. The EVA itself becomes a profound metaphor for human vulnerability. It's not just about building walls. It's about the terrifying process of intercorporation, of two beings so intimately merging that the boundaries between self and other completely dissolve. When Shinji enters the entry plug, he's not just piloting a robot. He's being simultaneously penetrated and penetrating. His body and the machine becoming a hybrid entity that defies traditional notions of individual autonomy. This isn't just science fiction. It's a visceral exploration of how we protect ourselves while paradoxically yearning for total connection. The EVA becomes a living metaphor for our deepest psychological defenses. We build at fields to keep others out, but we're simultaneously desperate to be truly seen, to merge, to transcend our isolation. Let's take a tour through this messed up psychological building, the different rooms where each character has locked themselves away. Let's start with Shinji. His pain isn't just abandonment, it's expecting abandonment. The kid runs because he's absolutely certain rejection is coming. His logic is painfully simple. If I get close, I'll get hurt. If I try, I'll fail. If I exist, I'll suffer. Sound familiar? It should. We've all been there. That entry plug he sits in isn't just a cockpit, it's basically a womb, a return to safety, to non-existence. When he synchronizes with the Eva, he's not connecting. He's disappearing into something bigger so he doesn't have to be himself anymore. Honestly, who hasn't wanted that escape sometimes? Now for Rei. What's more terrifying than being nobody? Being replaceable. Rei doesn't just have identity issues. She literally discovers she's a copy, a tool, a means to someone else's end. Her emptiness isn't just her personality. It was designed that way. That question she never quite asks out loud. If I am not this, then what am I?
Who is this? This is me. Who am I? What am I? What am I? What am I? What am I?
Man, that hits hard for anyone who's ever built their entire identity around being someone's partner or parent or employee, only to have that taken away. Who are you when the one thing that defined you is gone? Asuka's chamber is pure performance anxiety on steroids. She doesn't just fear failure, she fears being invisible. Her cockiness isn't pride, it's panic. Every achievement, every perfect test score, every EVA battle, it's all just her desperately screaming, "I deserve to exist." Remember her breakdown? I can't be the best anymore, so I might as well be nothing. That's not just teenage drama. That's what happens when your entire self-worth depends on being number one. And in today's world of Instagram perfection and LinkedIn humble brags, are we really any different? Now, Misato drowns her pain in beer and false cheer. She plays hero to others because she can't save herself. She dates men she can fix because fixing them is easier than fixing herself. Her everything's fine act isn't strength. It's survival. A performance so convincing she's almost fooled herself. Ritsuko, she hides in cold logic and science, thinking if she can just understand enough, maybe she can make sense of the emptiness inside. But the truth is, she's not seeking knowledge. She's chasing validation. From her mother, from Gendo, from a world that never told her she was enough. Her tragic flaw isn't loving the wrong man. It's believing that understanding your damage somehow fixes it, as if knowing exactly why you're messed up makes you any less messed up. And Gendo wears more than just sunglasses. He wears a whole fortress of emotional armor. His hands, always gloved, never touching the world directly. His version of love is distance, control, power. He pushes everyone away because closeness means vulnerability, and he's terrified of being hurt again. The man who built a god just to avoid facing his own grief. But isn't there something brutally honest about that? Who hasn't wanted to tear apart reality itself after losing someone they couldn't live without?
Yui, I have always known that. I'll only hurt Shinji if I'm with him. Leaving him alone was the best thing that I could do. Forgive me, Shinji.
Evangelion doesn't just show broken people. It shows how we survive brokenness, the masks we wear, the lies we tell ourselves, and the silent suffering we carry because we've forgotten how to ask for help. But here's the terrible truth Anno forces us to face. These walls we've built, these chambers we hide in, they're not protecting us. They're burying us alive. The loneliness that haunts every frame of Evangelion isn't just a mood or aesthetic. It's the inevitable result of our terror of being truly seen. When Shinji finally gets what he thinks he wants, total unity, no barriers, no risk of rejection, he panics. Because deep down, he realizes what we all know but rarely admit. The very thing we fear most, vulnerability, is the only thing that can save us. This is why Evangelion burns you alive. It's not just a story about a depressed kid and some robots. It's Anno grabbing you by the shoulders and screaming, "Look at yourself! Look at how you're living! Look at what you're doing to escape your own humanity!" We've seen how we build these walls, this elaborate architecture of pain that keeps us safe but isolated. But what happens when those walls finally crack? When our carefully constructed defenses crumble and the masks Anno forced us to confront finally slip away completely? We're seeing what lies beneath when there's nowhere left to hide. This is what Evangelion drags us into. The silence, the void, that unbearable, suffocating weight of simply existing in your own skin. The Hedgehog's dilemma isn't just a clever bit of psychology. It's the entire visual language of Evangelion, etched into every frame. Every AT field is a hedgehog's spine. Every Ava's roar a cry echoing through the loneliness. Every battle is just two children, desperate for warmth, terrified of pain, circling each other in a dance of hedgehogs. Look at the relationships. Shinji reaches out, gets hurt, retreats. Asuka lets someone in, feels vulnerable, attacks. Rei tries to understand the connection, all while staring down the terrifying possibility that she might be incapable of it. Remember that infamous elevator scene. Rei and Asuka, trapped together in silence for 45 agonizing seconds. It's not just awkward, it's a mirror. It's us, forced to sit with our thoughts, to face the emptiness we fear lives inside us. That scene perfectly encapsulates Anno's ruthless approach to animation, using the medium not just to entertain, but to trap you in discomfort. As critic William Rout notes, these still moments throughout the series continually direct attention to Shinji's state of mind and to his memories, constantly reminding viewers that what is going on inside his head warrants our attention. The elevator isn't just a setting, it's a psychological descent that predicts the show's ultimate internal reckoning. And those lingering shots that made you squirm in your seat, the camera that holds just a beat too long on Shinji's empty ceiling, The stillness isn't just artistic indulgence. It's Anno forcing you to sit in discomfort, to experience the weight of isolation without the mercy of a cut. These aren't random stylistic choices. They're deliberate psychological weapons. Anno unusually employs still images throughout the series, sometimes in complete silence, other times with only voiceover dialogue. By freezing the visual action, he seizes and holds your attention, yanking you out of the mesmerizing flow of animation and forcing you to confront what's happening inside the characters and inside yourself. The technique intensifies in those final episodes for a reason. Each still frame is Anno whispering, "Stop, look, feel this emptiness with me." Then there's Rei's apartment. That emptiness isn't just bad housekeeping. It's a visual scream of what we all dread, a vast nothing lurking inside, waiting to swallow us whole. When Shinji visits her, he's not just uncomfortable with her living conditions, he's terrified by what it represents. A life without attachment, without memory, without the comfortable clutter we surround ourselves with to prove we exist. This is Evangelion's deepest cut. The real terror isn't the angels or the apocalypse. It's the deafening quiet when we're finally alone with ourselves, wondering if we're enough to fill that void. Every breakdown in Evangelion, Asuka in the bathtub, Shinji over Kaworu's fate, Misato clutching Kaji's pendant, isn't just character development. It's the moment when the void finally wins, when the mask cracks beyond repair, and the abyss beneath stares back. And yet, Evangelion doesn't let us look away. It forces us to stare right into that darkness, the raw human heart of the show, asking us if we can bear to sit in the silence, and what we might find if we do. Have you ever turned off all the noise? The music, the shows, the endless scroll, and just existed in the quiet? Were you brave enough to listen to the thoughts that came crawling up from the depths? Or did you reach for the remote, for your phone, for anything to drown out the sound of your own existence? That's the void Evangelion wants you to face. Not just the end of the world, but the end of your distractions, the end of your excuses, the terrifying possibility that when everything else is stripped away, you might discover there's nothing at the core of who you are. And maybe, just maybe, that's what scares us most about this show. Not the cosmic horror or existential dread, but the simple truth is that to truly connect with others, we first have to connect with that emptiness inside ourselves. That emptiness we just stared into, it's not just philosophical abstraction. It's the void that opens up when we finally confront the question we've been running from our entire lives. What happens when we can no longer hide from ourselves? Let's talk about the scene everyone remembers but nobody wants to discuss. You know the one. Shinji, broken, whispering,
"I'm so fucked up."
Why did Anno put something so raw, so uncomfortable, right at the heart of Evangelion? Because sometimes, we need to see the ugliest parts of ourselves to even begin to understand the beauty of being human. That moment isn't just character development or shock value. It's the ultimate confrontation with the self. The moment when Shinji can no longer pretend he's the hero of this story. When the mask falls away completely, and all that's left is the raw, ugly truth of his humanity. Depression here isn't just sadness. It's existence itself turning heavy, unbearable. When Shinji says,
"I hate myself,"
he's not being dramatic. He's voicing the ache so many of us carry but never say out loud. These aren't just character flaws, they're survival mechanisms. Asuka's rage, Rei's emptiness, Shinji's retreat, they're all ways of coping with a world that feels like it's ending every day. And if you've ever felt like you're not living, just surviving, you know exactly why this series claws at your soul. The terror isn't in the angels or the human instrumentality project. The real terror is in recognizing that the apocalypse in Evangelion is just an externalization of what's already happening inside each character. Their world isn't ending. Their ability to keep pretending is. When Shinji finally chokes Asuka on that beach, he's not just lashing out at her. He's confronting every rejection, every abandonment, every moment of pain he's experienced. He's bringing all his darkness to the surface, unable to hide it anymore. And in that moment, in that terrible, honest moment, he's more alive than he's ever been. Evangelion doesn't sugarcoat the pain. It stares it down, unflinching, and asks us to do the same. It reminds us that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to exist despite it. And then we arrive at that beach. Stark, desolate, strangely hopeful. Asuka and Shinji side by side, battered but alive. The world is broken around them, but somehow continuing. But wait, is this really hope we're feeling? Or is Anno playing one final trick on us? As scholars have noted, the ending of Evangelion can be read two ways. Yes, there's the optimistic view, Shinji finding his way to self-acceptance in a world made new. But there's also something more unsettling at work here. By highlighting the artifice of animation itself, showing Shinji as a literal stick figure in white emptiness who gets to choose his reality, Anno might be offering an ironic commentary. Even this resolution is just one of many possible endings. The beach isn't necessarily our final destination. It's just where Anno chose to stop drawing. Remember that final scene?
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congrats, bro.
Congratulations.
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 Congratulations. Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations. It's not just weird, surrealist nonsense. It's Anno saying that facing yourself, really facing yourself, is the hardest battle you'll ever fight. And if you can do it, even for a moment, that's worth celebrating. But there's brilliant ambiguity in those congratulations. When we watch the characters applauding Shinji in that stark white space, are we witnessing a genuine breakthrough or just another self-constructed fantasy? The animation medium itself becomes part of the message here. As critic William Rout points out, those still frames and stylistic shifts repeatedly and obviously call attention to the considerable artifice of the series' narration. By making the medium so visible, by showing us the strings of the puppet show, Anno forces us to question whether we can ever truly escape the narratives we build around ourselves. Even as Shinji declares, "I am me."
I am me! I want to be myself! I want to continue existing in this world! My life is worth living here!
We are reminded that this identity exists within a constructed reality that could dissolve with the next frame. Here's the real message of Evangelion. And it's not get in the robot. It's not even don't run away. It's something far simpler and so much harder. You are worth existing, even with your flaws, even with your fears, even when you feel like Shinji, curled up and hopeless, like Asuka screaming at the world, like Rei questioning if you're even real. You are worth the space you take up in this world. So here's my question for you. What's your AT field? What walls have you built? What masks are you wearing right now? Because Evangelion isn't just about Shinji's journey toward self-acceptance, it's about yours. The hedgehogs may never figure out how to embrace without hurting each other, but they keep trying. That's the point. Not that we succeed at connection, but that we never stop attempting it, that we choose to be hurt rather than be alone. The scariest thing about Evangelion isn't the angels or the apocalypse. It's that Anno looked straight into the void of human loneliness and didn't blink. He showed us exactly how we destroy ourselves and each other. And then, somehow, he found hope there. Maybe that's why we keep coming back to this series decades later. Because deep down, past all the merchandise and memes, we recognize something primal. This isn't just about giant robots and the end of the world. It's about the war inside each of us, between the comfort of isolation and the terror of connection. A war that only ends when we finally, truly, choose to live. Congratulations for still being here, for still trying, for having the courage to face the void and not let it consume you. And remember, the devil made me do it.